Welcome back, Officers of the Republic. Is your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief AP Gaines of the 69th Precinct. Today we have Jagermeister of Villains of Evil for a subscriber roster review. Now, if you're looking at the name of this account and the name of the video, I'm probably going to be too lazy to put the accents over the A, so it's probably going to be like Jagermeister instead of Jagermeister, but please forgive me for that. All right, hopping in, 1.9 million GP. He's got 3 characters relic: Boss, Grievous, Padme. He's got 1 Zeta on Revan, 1 on Vader, 2 on Padme, which is nice. He's got the Jolie Zeta, which is good. Nuke Gunray Dooku. Seems a little bit excessive use of Zetas. I like the level 84 Commander Luke Skywalker. Level 83 Chewbacca. Alright, is this a level 82 Han Solo? Is this a hyperdrive bundle account? Let's see, are there any characters that would be in the hyperdrive bundle? This is... I don't think it is. No, because... Well... Yeah, I think this is a hyperdrive bundle account, or else you wouldn't have these random characters. Okay, let's just break it down from a fundamental standpoint. Bounty Hunters, we're looking good there. It's got the standard Bounty Hunters. Not too much to say about that. Bosky probably has it relicked up first as opposed to Boba or Jango because he's prioritizing a beefy Hound's Tooth over fat damage from Boba and Jango Fett. No issues there whatsoever. Pretty bare bones clones. Standard. I saw he had a Shock T. Droids, Relic 5, Grievous. Grievous is, I feel... And this might be this shouldn't be a controversial statement. It's pretty well known that Grievous is fairly overrated at this point since there's a bunch of counters and they're all high banners. So Grievous is more useful. Well, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know how useful Grievous is this day or like in this current meta because there's so many counters. But Grievous is still relatively useful. Sub 2 million GP, you can probably get a couple holds here and there. Especially since most, like 90% of Grand Arena players aren't the most thought out in their preparation. So having a Relic 5 Grievous probably catches a bunch of people off guard more often than not. So up against a planned opponent, probably not the greatest, but since you guys know that it's kind of unlikely to find an opponent who's really on top of their stuff. I find that most of the people who are on top of their stuff are watching these videos. And of the total population of the game, it's not a high percentage. So I'm actually okay with this Grievous, simply for the fact that more often than not, it's like a numbers game. More often than not, you're going to find people who aren't going to be able to take advantage of a Grievous on defense. Therefore, having like a weak B1 and stuff like that will easily get one shot, and then the Magna Guard, and then the B2, and then whatever else you run with it. Get a lot of AoEs out. Fairly good. I can't tell if Stark and Veers is some sort of fledgling Imperial Trooper team. I'll have to check that out. I'd like to see Vader start to get up a little bit. At 2 million GP, you start to need to get into that 3 Zeta, 2 Zeta, Relic 1, Relic 2, Relic 3 range. For Zeta to solo like pretty decently powerful teams. At sub 2 million GP, he can probably get away with soloing like occasional backwall teams. You might need to bring in Palpatine with him if he's only gear 12, just for Palp's leadership to grant him that extra turn. Because under his own leadership, you have to do Merciless Massacre first, then the AoE, then basic everyone, then either AoE again or Culling Blade to finish it off. But under Palpatine, you get that extra turn because you get that turn meter for applying debuffs, so you can do AoE, then Merciless Massacre, then basics, and then either another AoE or another Culling Blade. So, if you're Vader, if any of you guys are watching this and your Vader is like not quite relict or not quite viable against whatever teams you might be facing, potential backwall solos, keep into consideration that extra turn from Palpatine, or maybe even an extra turn from Thrawn passing turn meter, or 2 extra turns, Palpatine and then Thrawn goes after Vader, could be the difference between a solo getting like stun locked, depending on the team you fight, or just quickly getting through a slightly stronger team. So if you don't have relics, take into consideration the extra turn meter that those two characters can offer a Darth Vader. Ewoks, not a lot going on there. First Order, not a lot going on there. So you do have a relic for Padme. I would have preferred the relics to go on Anakin, but Padme is a decently fine allocation of relics, especially sub 2 million GP. I'm going to have to see what other teams you have. I would probably save Padme for offense, because you're going to go against like Darth Revens and stuff like that starting around 2 million GP. People have like one really good team. And until you get to a point, probably like 2.5 million GP, where you have so many teams that you can start to save powerful teams for defense just to try to trip your opponent up, you can start to throw that team on defense. But for right now, you use your Padme, your Ahsoka, your Anakin. You don't have General Kenobi. Throw in the Yoda unless you have Jedi Knight Revan, which you do. Okay. So I would not put a Jedi Knight Revan team in there. But instead, what I would do, let me just quickly go Imperial Troopers. Yeah, not quite good enough to do anything. Especially at sub 2 million GP, Jedi are awesome for splitting into two teams. I preach this all the time. I rarely use full squads anymore. I mean, I'm undersizing everything, to be perfectly honest with you. Unless, an opponent drops a battle and you don't have to actually worry about banners, and then just having extra, like having a full 5-man just saves you like actual time, because you just get more attacks out. But if my opponent one-shots everything, I mean, I'm never using a full team. I'm splitting up Jedi Knight Revan, Jolee, Bindo. They're on a team by themselves. Bastila Shan, Grievous are on a team by themselves. Anakin, Ahsoka, and then if you had General Kenobi, you're going to be with Padme. I'm starting to throw that on defense. I use Shakti clones on defense too, because they don't get fantastically high banners on offense, but they are still a good team, so I find they have decent viability on defense. I'm just going to go off on a quick tangent here, because I've been like doing a little bit of memeing on the side. Aayla Secura, right, gains 50% counter chance. In addition, she has a 75% chance to stun her target for one turn when scoring a critical hit. I think that's only if she is counterattacking or called to assist, though. If you guys have gotten this far in the video, comment your thoughts on Aayla Secura. Either say good, bad, or literally anything else. But just comment. If you've gotten this far in the video, it's what? We're about 8 minutes into the video. If you've gotten this far into the video, make a comment on Aayla Secura. Even if you've never ever commented on any of my videos before. I just want to hear the tee-hee-hees and the meme strats that Aayla Secura could start to provide in the future, but I can't remember what it was. I don't think it's just on the basic. She has a 75% chance to stun her target for one turn when scoring a critical hit. So is that only when she counterattacks, or is that just in general? So is Aayla Secura like a sneaky solo potential? Like if I had like a Relic 3 Aayla Secura, could I solo with Aayla Secura, or would I need people to assist? I haven't actually tested her out that much, so I don't know the stipulation on that. I will need to do more research, but let me know if you guys happen to know the answer off the top of your head. Asajj Ventress is up maybe for purposes of getting gas. Maybe. Old Republic, you got pretty bare bones because you don't need them that high. Phoenix is nice and low. Rebels, you have CLS, you have Han Solo, you have Chewbacca. The Zeta you have on Count Dooku, and the Zeta you have on Nute Gunray, if those Zetas were on Chewbacca so that he could regain health and protection, and Han Solo so he gets that double attack, I would love that, because that CLS, as we know, CLS is a 3-man 62 guaranteed banners. It punches up against higher relics, higher gear, so you don't need to invest too heavily into the team besides the Zeta on Chewbacca and Han Solo. The CLS turn meter Zeta is optional. It's obviously like nice to have, but I mean, even at this point, I still don't have it because it's not super necessary. But yeah, I'd like to see maybe a little bit higher gear, like gear 10 for Han Solo and Chewbacca at least. I think my voice just cracked, but at least, and then the Zetas on them. Separatists, obviously, I'm sure you're running Newt Gunray, Count Dooku. A couple other guys, you got Geos going on. Sith, not much we haven't talked about there. Tuskens, 2 Tuskens. Okay, so we're living lavish. Do you have a cup? I didn't bother checking. I was saving that for last. You do not have a cup. Very disappointed. Very disappointed. You know all the good stuff I said about this roster? Terrible, no cup. Very disappointed. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. Link in the description, Discord, join, have fun. We have game nights now that school is starting to end for me. We're doing game nights every night. It's just a grand old time. I hope you guys slide through. Later.